Now tell me a bit about Rock It Biz. How did you get the idea for it?
Having worked in the United States, in Mexico and in other Latin countries, and having traveled to many places, I was always very impressed by the entrepreneurial spirit that you meet in the streets by people, whether it was in Asia, in Vietnam, in India, in Bhutan, in Mexico, in the US. And every time I came back home, I was like, Jesus, I don't know, I couldn't feel that here. And I thought, God, we have such an amazing place. We have such a wonderful place with lots of opportunities. And so I thought a way to get that back is to actually teach entrepreneurs entrepreneurship to kids so that they can actually have that experience, what it feels to developing something by your own, making it, selling it, and taking that knowledge and that experience and apply it to their life.
You touched on this a little bit before. What are your specific goals with Rock It Biz? What is it that you want to achieve?
What I would like to achieve that entrepreneurship will be implemented as a class in German schools into the curriculum. I think it should be a class that should be taught. It's not that somebody is doing a business class. It's really, I think, what we do very well here in Germany, the vocational training. What I think, if we can take that and apply that more to entrepreneurship, this is what we're trying to do with our program, is having kids have the experience of what it is to be entrepreneurs and to actually giving a room to make lots of mistakes in an environment that doesn't cost them anything. So for me, it would be that the goal is really to implement entrepreneurship as a class. So that would be wonderful if we could achieve that.
And what are the arguments that you hear against it? Why are schools not already doing it?
I think, what I hear is that schools they're overwhelmed. Teachers are overwhelmed with what they have to teach children and what they're doing. So I think in general there needs to be an adaptation in school of how kids are being taught and what is being taught. I think that's what we hear, or what is the most current issue. And then what we hear in Germany also is that people are scared when they hear entrepreneurship and understand it more as a business class, that kids, it's too early to bring that into the minds of kids. So there's a lot of education that we have to do about what is entrepreneurship, so that business knowledge is just one part of it, but it's really about many of the soft skills and the attitude towards failure and trying something new again. It's interesting, I've traveled to other countries and talked about what we're doing, and I got a very positive response because governments in other countries are actually looking for entrepreneurship education for their children. And so there's a very positive response to that, and they're actually already doing things in that respect.
Since not everyone wants to run his own business later on, why is it so important to have to learn it in school already?
I think, in my opinion, entrepreneurship gives you skills and teaches you skills that you can use as an entrepreneur, as an intrapreneur. So you work actually in a company and you can be developed there. You can be an artist. There are many, many areas where those skills that you learn, also those soft skills, but also business skills, will be very important for you. And especially, I think, in the work market, for people working in jobs, the whole way of how people are being contracted is changing more and more. And when you look at other countries, it already has, where people have many more jobs. And they understand themselves as solopreneurs, so they actually have to have all those skills to work, and not necessarily as an entrepreneur building a company, but as an entrepreneur of their lives.
Won't kids become quite heavy-headed if we try to put so much stuff into their heads?
Well, I think if children have the opportunity to choose from that offer and pick out what they're interested in, I think, no, they won't be heavy-headed. If you force whatever knowledge there is into them, yes, they will. I also have a little daughter, and she will start school now, and it was really interesting because at her preschool they actually talked about products. So where do products come from, how they're being developed, and then they did a little shop, and she at some point said to me, oh, I want this Lego friends and this, and I'm like, oh yeah, well, you can put it on the list for Christmas and your birthday. And she's like, no, that's too long away. I said, well, what can you do? And she said, I will open a shop. So we opened a shop, and I think it's really entrepreneurship is that experience. So she actually had fun with it, and it was really interesting to see. For example, we were actually outside of our home and offering stuff, and we did little posters and brought it to the hairdresser that always cuts your hair, and he came to buy something very nice. To see actually the development. In the beginning she was very scared to actually offer something, and then in the end she said very proudly, this is my healthy cupcake, and this is the not healthy cupcake, but it looks very beautiful. But it's about those skills, so you can make it fun. It's not about pushing them that knowledge into them.
How about things like coping with stress and time management? Is that in there too?
The kids we have actually two parts of the programs that usually teach, that stress kids. And that's actually why it's so important to also have the teachers involved who know their kids and help them also get through that. The first part is when the kids actually identify their own skills, because in our program the kids are go together as six in one company. So who's good in math will be the CFO, who's good in design and in art will be design director, the person who can talk a lot will do sales, and so they go together, and it's that's the time when they realize that it may not be their best friend, and their hopes were high up. So that usually is it's very frustrating for the kids, or we have at least had it in some groups. And the interesting thing was when you are able to help them through that and guide them through that, at least 3/4 of the kids write, when we do the review of the program, write very positively about that experience, that they actually learn to listen to other people, and that it's important to talk to people that you may have not otherwise talk to, and to work as a team. So that really is a great outcome. And then the second part where we have that again is when the kids develop their idea and they have kind of developed what they want to do in a design, and then they actually produce it, and it doesn't look the way it's supposed to. I mean, how it looked in their head, in their mind, and to actually get them through that and develop that and actually stick to it and then go out. And then once they have that experience of people buying it and actually getting real money, that's something that really motivates them a lot. And then what we do too is we have one session about time planning, how to focus, and then also one session what's been done in the end, where it's really the kids are focusing on one goal that they have in their life, and then it's a little bit cascading back of, okay, if you want to achieve that, how do you go back? What do you do this year, in which quarter, in this week? And then we actually ask them to do one step towards that goal. And that's kind of what they're taking out of the program for their private life in the end.